Hi, this video is to teach you how to create an interactive table using the Google Colab, and it's a continuation of the other videos which I produced earlier. And in those videos, I taught you how to get started with Google Colab and how to upload data to Google Colab. And I'm just going to recap on the upload of data to Google Colab in case you've not watched the other videos. So basically, to do that, we could upload Google data from either your computer storage or your computer folder, or we could upload data from the cloud, which is your Google Drive. Now, depending on what your preference is. So normally when you open your Google Colab, it looks similar to this. Yeah, this is the data we used previously, so there may be nothing at all. So basically, to get started, you go to upload the data, you go to the left side, and you could choose to upload data from here. You click on this button here, and you could upload the data from, I'm just going to delete this. This is the previous one I uploaded from my computer, and I'm going to upload it again so you can just remember that. So these are sample data. You are not interested in this, and this is the data from my Google Drive. I'm going to delete it as well. Then I'll have to do it all over again. So it takes to delete, but I'll show you how to upload the data from Google Drive irrespective. So for Google Drive, you need to go to this option here. You click on this option, and it will tell you to mount your Google Drive. So the first step I'm going to take is to remove this Google Drive, which means I'm going to revoke the right from Google Colab to have access to the Google Drive. I'll do that in a second. So you just simply click on revoke access and assign a new runtime. So you can see that that is gone. Now to upload data from Google Drive, I'll click on Google Drive, and you can see here it's a Math drive. So click on that. Takes a few minutes, and it asks you for a permission to access the Google Drive. So in my case, I'm going to give a connection or permission to access my Google Drive. So that will take a few seconds, and as you can see from here, you can see the Google Drive. If you want to access the file you are looking for in the Google Drive, you click on this arrow here until you get to the specific file you are interested in. Now, the alternative to this is to use the programming code to import data from your computer. So to do that, I'm going to include a coding line here. You have a coding line. So my coding line just started right in the middle here. So I'm going to move it to the last line by clicking on the arrow by the right. So it's going to be, I'm going to click on this down arrow. So it's going to move it to the last line here. So if you remember this code I used in the previous video, so when you run this code, it's going to ask you to upload your data. So basically you follow the same keywords and the specs. It doesn't matter whether you have double space or not, but it should be written together. So now I will run this, and it will give me the permission to upload my data from my computer. Now you can see that my data has been uploaded from my computer. And I did show you earlier on how to browse the data so the data can display similarly to this one you have here. Basically, to do that, you could use the code, this particular code here, which is my data. So I'm just going to copy this same code. Of course, there's something you need to change. Don't be in a hurry. Just watch this video so you can see that. I'm going to run new code. Again, I want to move it to the very last line to run this code. And then I have this data here. Now you see this section here, and this is where you could get into trouble if you don't pay attention to it. So this section here, where you have this particular URL, if you like, in inverted command and parentheses, this is what we call the parts of your file from your Google Colab. So to get this part, I'm going to show you how to do that. So remember that I left this parentheses on the two sides, and also I'm also going to leave the inverted comma here, or the comma here, in order to have my part inserted in the middle. So to get my part, I'm going to use this file which I just uploaded. Once I upload this file from here, you could see it from your left side that the file has been uploaded to your Google Colab. So look at this three dot here. You could click on this, and then you say copy part. When you copy this part, you simply try to make sure you paste the part just right in the middle of the parentheses. So what you'll notice here is that in the parentheses, I have this forward here. If you copy your part from your file and then you paste it here, it could have come with the forward symbol here. You could take it out just to have one there. You could leave the two there. You're going to have the same result. It's not going to change the data. And once you have your forward here, remember the command is here, and we also have this code in the parentheses, and then you run your data. So you could see that it's here. Now let's assume that we take one of these forward out, and then we run data again. It's going to give us the same result. Now the 5,000 here is basically telling, instructing the Google Colab how many files to display on the screen. So as you can see from here, there are multiple files displayed here. So this is the maximum lines of data that I have in the spreadsheet I uploaded. So if I have up to 5,000 data or 1 million data, then that would have been displayed in the on the screen here. Now, if I don't have anything here, I could take it off and just have it as a blank space. Let's run that and see what we get. So basically, you see that we only have up to 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want to have more lines to be displayed from your data, then you have to instruct how many lines you're interested. If you have millions of data, then you might have to type millions here, and then you run it, and then you have your data displayed on your screen. Now that I have my data here, you could see this blue sort of a pen here with 3 stars. So if you click on this icon here, so it's going to convert, as you can see from the screen, convert this time frame, this data frame to an interactive table. So now let's click on this and see what we get. And basically, it creates an interactive table. So you could see all the data space we got in this particular color. So this shows the page 1, and I could also increase how many lines to display, even up to 100 if I like. And basically, it displays that number of data. So I could also reduce it to 10, but what I would do is that it's going to create pages for my data. So I could see page 1 here, and then you could see page 2, and then you could see page 3. So I basically create pages for the data I want to have interaction with. So I will go back to 100. And in this space, you could see there is a filter on the right here. When you click on this filter, so it's going to give you this section here, which helps you to search any part of this data to give you specific information. So assuming that this is customer information, and then you have the customer name somewhere here, and then you have the customer details here, or you have multiple companies. These are the list of the companies and the customer details. Then you could simply just search for a specific customer, and that is what is going to display on from multiple or millions of the data you have on your Google Colab. So if I want to search for a particular year here, so that it shows me all the data related to that year, that is possible. So basically, we follow these steps. First, I will advise that you do not use the index number here, because this index number here is basically the computer code created for this data. So the best way you could, if you search index number 1 to 1, it's going to just give you 1 piece of data. So assuming you have the same customer information across the data, so it's going to give you just one of the customer data and not all the information about the customer data. So basically, if I'm interested in data from 2012 to 2015, I could rather use year here. So the year you see here and the company's name are basically the data point or the columns which I have in my spreadsheet, which we already created. So the Google Colab program pick up these coded lines, and basically I could search for those specific information that I am looking for. So if I'm looking for information from 2012 to 2018, it's going to display all the data points related to 2012 to 2018 for IBM, for Microsoft Incorporated, for Alphabet Incorporated, for SAP, and for Oracle. Now, if I was just basically interested in data from 2012 to 2012, so it's going to pick up all the data related to 2012 to 2012, which is just this one line of data for this particular year. Now, let's see, what about 2023? See how many data we have here. So again, it displays one of the data for 2023. So basically, the amount of interaction you could do from this data in terms of creating your database and be able to search for piece of information depends on how you set up your database system. Basically, there's not much I could do with this data because of the way it was set up. So I could only look at data from a particular year to the other. If this data was set up in a way that I have customer in a column or in a more database format, then I could do a lot of search with this. But the other thing I could do with this data, and I could basically produce my chart or graph using this data, and that's what I'm going to show you next. So I'm going to write a code here. I'm going to click on Pros code. I'm going to use this set of code. As you can see from here, this set here is basically giving instruction to the computer to basically use some of the data points that I have here in terms of preparing the graph. So I have the s-axis to be equals to 1, 2, 3. So the data point I want to select from here, if I was looking at particular customers data, and I take that customer data from each of these customers on the line here, from the values they have here. And then I could plug that into the y-axis and see if that has any correspondence or how it changes with the number of years. And there's basically I could plug in the number of years here on the y-axis. And then if I have more information about what I want to display in the graph, I may also include that in the second y-axis. And then I have the prt.plot, and I could say x, y1, and then label equals to line L, and then the following code. So basically, if you follow this type of code, it works. But basically, the data here, or the value here, is the data point I want to show. This could have been profit for each of these company is possible. And I just basically want to show the amount of profit for each of these company, perhaps for 2000 and for 2023, for 2020, for 2012, or perhaps if you like, from 1995 to 2023. And basically enter this data point here. So sometimes it might just be about 5 years trends, which is very common in accounting, financial reporting. So basically looking at 5 years trends, or if you're looking at 3 years trends, so you might possibly have 2000 and 2020 to 2023. So now that I have this here, this code here, you could change this value based on the kind of correlation you want to display. So I'll run this data here. So don't mind about the error, ignore the error. The table we have here is correct. So you could see my graph, which I'm going to copy and paste in my report. So the other thing I could do, if this data does change at any point in time, I could simply come back here and change the data. Let's say I have 1001, and here I have 3,120, and here I have 6,005 and 124. And then here I have 1,000, 10,000, and then here I have 60,000, and here I have perhaps like 1,000, 90,000. So we could potentially have this in the y-axis, which is going to be from 2000 and from 2001. And we could have here 2002, 2003. And we have 2004, and then we have 2005. And now we could run this and see how that goes. This is just going to disappear. So we rather make this a little bit of a bigger value. Then we could have 20,000, and then we could have 10,000, we could have 27,000, then we could have 15,000. And then let's run this. Basically, we could see our graph in this case. So we have the y-axis, which we created. So you could see the report from the graph. So we could potentially work around this number based on what you're interested in. So this is just a demonstration. If you are running a graph, it should be based on actual data that you collect, and you want to create a graph on to show what is going on in the company. So this is where I'm going to stop for this video. I hope this video was helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for future videos. In the next video, I'll be showing how to do basic coding with computer, give instruction to computers to write a program, and that is basically different from the data interruption table on Google Colab. Thank you and have a nice day.